giving you an opportunity to get the full story from the people who tell it best. This is Mediacom News Leaders.
I'm Elizabeth Kling with Mediacom News Leaders. Right now we're talking with Representative Gary Worthan, a Republican from Lynn County, that's District 11. And thank you so much for being here. You are the chair of the Justice Systems Appropriations Subcommittee, so we're going to talk about some of the issues you're dealing with in that. And first of all, just tell us about some of the departments that are involved and the responsibilities of that committee.
Our committee handles about 8 or 9 different departments within the state government.
And a good chunk of the budget.
10% of the budget,
yeah.
of the overall budget. We're the third largest budget in the state appropriations behind education and health and human services. Mm-hmm. We fund the Department of Corrections, which is all of the prison system, plus all of our community-based corrections across the state. We fund the judicial branch. That's from clerks of court in our county courthouses all the way to the state Supreme Court. We fund DPS, Department of Public Safety, which is Highway Patrol, Division of Criminal Investigation, Fire Marshal's Office, Drug Control Office.
You cover a lot of territory in keeping Iowans safe.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So let's talk about some of the issues that each of those particular departments are kind of facing right now and what you're hearing about, starting with the Department of Corrections.
Well, really we have to go back to what got us here, and the recession of 08, 09 really hurt the state's budget. There were cuts that had to be made back then when state revenues went down, and so we're
refresh our memory for some of the adjustments that maybe people aren't top of mind at this point now.
Coming into session in 2011, we had to deappropriate over $500 million because revenues were basically falling off the table at that point in time. And so that happened mid-year, so the departments had to make some pretty serious cuts at that time to cover that shortfall.
And now they're trying to
We're still trying to recover from that and building things back. Department of Corrections that you mentioned, right now we're at, I don't know if you want to call it minimum staffing levels, but our security staff is pretty much as low as we dare go. And we're starting to see an increase in the recidivism rate, and we're trying to determine if that's a result of, we don't have enough counselors, or is it more systemic crime, people that are returning to the system. The recidivism is measured 3 years out after people have been released if they return within three years. 10 years ago that was around 30%. Now we're up around 39% recidivism rate, and so that's a concern. We'll be looking at a couple of pilot projects this year, one in a prison and a couple more in community-based corrections, bolstering the number of counselors to see if we can, with parolees and so on, if we can reduce that recidivism rate, if that's the solution or if there's something else that we need to be looking for.
With the Highway Patrol, what are you looking at there?
That's one of my major concerns, and I've chaired this committee now for 10 years and trying to build them back up. Our peak number was around 450 back in the 90s.
Troopers?
Yeah, troopers. Yeah. We got down as low as 345 here about 3-4 years ago. We're back in that 380, 390 range now.
But you would think that number needs to grow more?
There was a study done a few years ago that, taking into account miles of highway, geographical area, population, the state of Iowa should have about 455 state troopers. We're not there. I'm hoping that a couple initiatives that I'm working on this year, an equipment fund for the patrol, will free up some money in their general fund budget that then they can build numbers. Kind of a something that people don't think about, as far as equipment needs and so on. I don't know what the exact end count was last year, but at one point in March, from the beginning of the winter season till March, we had lost 17 patrol cruisers. Most of them rear-ended at accident sites.
Yeah.
So those are big dollars.
It all adds up, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
And so, and we're in the same situation in Division of Criminal Investigation. We're short investigators, so we need to build numbers there. We're at a point where county sheriffs and maybe small town police departments don't even bother to call DCI because they know that they don't have the manpower. DCI is basically just going out on serious sexual assaults and up. It's got to be a pretty serious crime for DCI to have the manpower to go out. And so we're looking to build numbers there also.
So a lot of work ahead, but we appreciate your time today and we appreciate the update, and we hope to have you back again to hear more then.
Well, thanks very much for having me in.
All right, we've been talking with Representative Gary Worthan, a Republican from Linn County, District 11. Join us next time here on Mediacom News Leaders.